All right. Welcome to the Geek Branch podcast. I'm your host, Tim, and my wife almost fell while trying to start the show. I'm so glad that didn't happen. I didn't see that. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad she didn't fall because that would have put me in the doghouse for sure. Anyways, so as you know, our co-host are Dane and Devontae, and of course, a familiar face is Cussler.
Hi.
Our co-host Matt, unfortunately, is still busy with his crazy holiday work schedule, so he will be back in about 2 weeks. It'll probably be the first week of December. You'll get to see Matt back at it. I know we miss him being here. We're glad that Cussler was able to fill in for the meantime.
Hi.
So we had some friends say that they wanted us to start off with kind of a rundown of what we're going to go over with each segment. So to start off, just to let y'all know, our topics for the Gaming Pulse will be Stadia. Is it Google's biggest failure yet?
Stadia 76, baby.
And then the next topic will be the first true VR flagship game. And that's, of course, Half-Life Alyx. And then we will talk about the Game Awards controversy. And last, the Geek Branch crew will tell each other what their game of the year is for 2019. All right, so let's start off with Stadia. The failure that is Google Stadia. First of all, people that pre-ordered way back in June or not did not get their Chromecast 4K Ultra. They didn't get their controller the day they were supposed to. There's people that still haven't gotten it. The other thing is that the games are not being performed on the Ultra 4K at true 4K, and those Ultra Chromecast are also overheating. People are putting heat sinks on top of the Chromecast just so that way their Chromecast won't explode. And so many people haven't received it yet, to the point to that even people have canceled their pre-orders. And it's been so dead that people that actually played Destiny 2 with the launch are having trouble being able to play with others on PvP mode. So it is a Fallout 76 level catastrophe, if not bigger.
Stadia 76.
Yeah, it's a huge failure, I would say.
Oh, great bomb of the year.
Yeah, and I can't believe I almost kept my pre-order for the podcast. I canceled it. I'm sorry.
Look, dude, it's fine. We would have told you never to get it in the first place.
It's a dumpster fire.
Yeah. I mean, we already knew that.
Yeah, like
the very premise itself was a dumpster fire.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, right. Like anybody actually had to broadband the freaking stream games. It's just not possible, man. Not in today. You give us like 20 years when everyone has Wi-Fi and we're rocking 7G. Sure.
It would have been different if like they were trying to sell this to a country that isn't America, where like we have all the corrupt companies that make sure that we don't have reliable fast internet. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, this is not South Korea. We just don't have the infrastructure for it. We're too big of a country. Even if you sold it in purely urban regions like New York, it still wouldn't function just because we don't have the infrastructure for it.
People that live in those areas really have no idea how bad it is in rural areas. I saw in a couple of comment sections about why are people so upset about slow internet? What are they talking about? And why are they getting upset about data caps? If they're part of a company that has data caps, then they just need to switch their service. And someone was like, you do realize there's people that usually only have two choices if they live in rural areas, and both of them typically have data caps.
Mm-hmm.
So Google, I guess they thought their demographic was just California, New York, and places like that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, they were like Silicon Valley thinking all the way. It's like, oh, this seems like a great thing to do at work when I'm sitting here in a building that has free Wi-Fi with a statue outside that has free Wi-Fi with light poles that give you free Wi-Fi. But let me explain something to you about the rest of America. We don't have free Wi-Fi. We pay for it, and what we pay for isn't capable of running Google Stadia. They are an absolute failure. Fallout 76.
Even places that have free Wi-Fi, it's usually like fast food places in our area.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you want to like have free Wi-Fi elsewhere, it's like good luck. You know?
It's a pipe dream, is what it is.
Yeah.
Look, man, Stadia.
Our parks don't have free Wi-Fi.
Have you seen the Stadia commercial with the guy with
Yeah,
from Party Rock with the giant afro?
Yeah. I was trying to remember who that guy was.
Look, dude. I mean, I think it might be the guy from Party Rock. He looks like the guy from Party Rock.
I don't think it's the same guy. I think this guy's a comedian, but he does look like him.
But yeah, so regardless,
the trailer's a joke.
The only thing that'll be there is the electrical energy and the game and your screen. That's all that you need. And I'm just like,
well, and they in the trailer too, they kept talking about 4K 60 frames per second. It's not 4K. It's 1080p upscaled to 4K. Their server is supposed to be more powerful than an Xbox One X, and Destiny 2 looks better on an Xbox One X. Why? Like, if you're gonna try to sell this to us,
because as usual, they try to make too many promises and then it fails.
But speaking of that, they a lot of their features that they were supposed to have at launch aren't there. Yeah. Not yet. They said it'll be delayed to 2020. Yeah, and then they've been having server issues, and then the big reason why everybody thinks they went ahead and launched it is because apparently Amazon is working on their own game streaming service, which. The reason why Amazon and Google are getting involved in this is because of how big their cloud systems are. It only makes sense for them to try this out because they have the servers for it for all their other stuff that they work on. Why not test this out? But I'm betting anything the launch for Amazon service will be much smoother than Google's.
Well, yes, it's also going to be off by 2 or 3 years. So
and also what they'll do is, like they do with most of their services, they'll have it probably on their Amazon Prime thing, and most people already have Amazon Prime, and they'll probably have Twitch Prime integration. So
yeah, I mean, it's just really honestly, it's just like as an owner of Prime, I originally bought it to buy things online, and then about every year to every 2 years, I just get a new free feature.
Yeah,
it's like Amazon TV. What is this? Click.
Yeah,
I'm here.
There's still stuff people don't even realize they get for free. Like you get free
Amazon Music.
You get Amazon Music. You get like Kindle. Some of the books you get are free. I think they have some comics that are free every once in a while too.
Yeah,
because they own Comixology for people that don't know that. What's your thoughts on all this, Devontae?
I was never a fan.
I know
this was a bad idea altogether. They should take the failure, right? Go back to the drawing board, try to figure out a console, and come back in like 10 years.
They're not gonna make a console.
Look, this is the only hope for them. Like this streaming thing is ridiculous right now.
Look, Silicon Valley types, they don't deal with failure well.
No,
they're gonna keep pushing it until it is a success. By that I mean they're gonna keep failing.
Yeah,
like 76.
Yeah,
after watching Silicon Valley. Yeah.
And that's why they said so many people in Silicon Valley actually love that show because it's so accurate. Even though it's supposed to be a comedy, they say it's
self-referential.
Yeah.
So they love seeing something that's about themselves because they're that self-absorbed.
Well, it's not that they're just self-absorbed, right? They came in during a time and a generation and a place where the mindset was, continuous success, no such thing as failure. We believe in ourselves, so we can do it. They are that achievement crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no such thing. Everyone gets a participation trophy. They are that group of people, and so they don't fail ever. They just keep going, even though they are absolutely heading downhill. So,
Google has so much money that they can do whatever they want and just.
Well, I mean, that's all of Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a success or not. It doesn't matter if it blows up in your pocket. It's just like, we're going to keep going.
Yeah, and they could sell it for like $10 billion, even though it's not worth a dime.
Oh, yeah, because they're in Silicon Valley. That entire area of the country is just a festoon of, it's almost like a giant Ponzi scheme.
Except for they're playing the scheme on each other all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like every time you see a Silicon Valley company has been bought for upwards of $100 million, upwards of $500 million. And I'm just like, it's not worth that much.
Like the only time it made sense was like with sitcoms, with the streaming deals.
Yeah.
Making like, okay, that makes sense. They have a lot of syndication rights and stuff like that. Like they're going to make a return on, putting Friends on HBO or putting,
And that's just the entertainment industry crossing over with Silicon Valley. Look, all of this technology and I'm the guy who loves it. Keep going, push it forward.
Right.
I like the concept of Stadia. I'm 100% behind, but
they're not ready.
Yeah, you can't execute anything.
Yeah, they're not ready for that yet. They did say I watched someone. It was Young Ye. He tested it out and he said the how they've been marketing, how you can switch to one thing to another. He said it actually is pretty seamless. He said it's pretty smooth when you switch to the TV to the Chromecast or.
I mean, it's never been impossible. Just look at the Switch.
Yeah.
You can totally just undock and leave.
Yeah. But another thing, if you just play on the Chrome browser, you can't play in 4K. You can only play in 1080p. The only way you can play in 4K is if you play it on the Ultra Chromecast, and you have to have the one that they send with the controller, because right now the current ones none of them have the update to play it. So you have to pre-order.
Yeah, so it's a hardware limitation at this point.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way because there are same 4K Chromecast Ultra devices. You should be able to play it. And then the only phones you can play it on right now is their Google Pixels. You can't play it on any other, even though you can download the app and it can probably run just fine on any other Android.
You can't play it.
You can't play it because they're trying to get you to buy their Pixels too.
Yeah, well, that's exclusivity for you.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've owned a Pixel. I owned a Pixel 2 XL, and it's a smooth running phone. It's got the best Google up-to-date software for sure. I mean, of course, that's exclusivity. They make sure you get the first Android update before anyone else because Android's made by Google. For people that don't know that for some reason. I'm sure most people know that by now.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. If it ain't the same name, people look at it kind of funny. Look, we're not going to judge people for what they do and don't know. No one has time to pay attention to minutia.
Right.
The whole point about Stadia is this. It was an absolute failure. It was doomed to be a failure from the very beginning. I hope you didn't pre-order. And if you did,
hopefully you were able to cancel like I did.
You know what worked better and is basically the same thing, but way older? GameFly. When you used to just, ask for a game and get it sent to you.
There was another company that tried to do the game streaming thing before Xbox and all of them got involved. I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was an epic flop. But the Xbox one is the one I think it's gonna be the one that's gonna hit it out of the park because it's not being forced. It's a choice. Xbox understands people want options.
Well, look,
I tried out the beta. I got accepted into the beta this past week, and it runs pretty smooth.
Well, look, it's really a matter of data transmission.
Yeah.
Right. And as it currently stands, even our consoles have issues with that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how many times have you just had to wait while things load up, even though the disc is in the console and the only thing you're doing is reading a disc? In fact, for digital download games, you still have this issue.
Yeah.
Even though the entire game has been formatted to your game's hard drive, you still have to have this load up time. And so you're trying to tell me that hardware is going to be supplanted by software that does a better job.
Right.
When I'm playing a game that's 60 gigabytes and it's not stored on my local device, but you want me to basically pull data from it all the way off of your server in whatever region of the world that I'm in, and you expect it to run as smoothly as something that would be literally on the hard drive of the game that I'm playing, it's not logical.
That was another selling point. They're like, you don't have to download, no updates. It's ready for you right then and there.
That's impossible.
Well,
it's not impossible, but yeah.
There's just the limits of data transmission.
Yeah.
Like anyone who has any passing knowledge sees the flaw here.
Yeah. And the reason why you have slower load times on consoles is because of the hardware they have, and it's just a regular hard drive. Whereas the next generation is going to be like computers and finally use solid state. And so that load time is not going to be there. Like it's going to be like the video that leaked a few months back with Spider-Man. Load time between PS4 and PS5 was like the PS4 was like 10, 15 seconds. And then the PS5 was like 2 or 3 seconds. Just, it was that kind of comparison. It was that close in time. It was really fast. Yeah. Because solid state just can read data that much faster.
Which is the whole point. It's what we want out of things. I mean, look, we've lived in a long enough time period where we're done with 30-second to a minute loads. We really
Right.
want 6-second loads. That's everyone's pipe dream, is a 6-second load.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To where you can just glance at your phone for a second, put it back in your pocket, and the game's
so,
ready.
yeah, right. We're good.
I don't want to have to pull out my phone and be able to read a whole article on IGN or something, and then my game is still loading.
Yeah. I mean, look, and if mobile games can't accomplish that,
Yeah.
being, you know, the absolute smallest as far as game size goes, I'm not expecting Google Stadia with a full 60 gigabyte game to accomplish it. So
The bigger issue, Stadia would have been a bigger ballpark success if they would have went the route everybody was expecting them to go and treat it as the Netflix of gaming. If they did that, if they made it to where it was a streaming service, to where they gave you a nice size library like Game Pass, to where you can stream it at any time, people would have been more acceptable for it. But the pricing on some of their games were ridiculous. I think like the Rise of the Tomb Raider was like $40-$50, and you could get that on Xbox or PlayStation for like $20 right now on
because
sale.
it's old at this point.
Right.
Great game though.
Yeah, it's a great game, but it's not, to most consumers, they're not going to go to Stadia where it's not even working properly and spend $30 more. Yeah.
For it, yeah. I mean, back in the day, you would have had me. If it, like, for instance, if they had exclusive titles, which I'm not,
They have one
they do
right
have
now.
one.
Yeah, they have one right now.
Okay, I never heard about it, but my point being,
It's
is,
an indie game it's not like where Switch made sure that Legend of Zelda was their launch title. It's nothing big like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So look, they didn't put anywhere near enough effort into it, and they want to treat it because it's proprietary tech. It's something that is confirmed and locked in, but it's no different than VR when it first came out. It's substandard. It's not anywhere near the product that it wants it to be.
Right.
It has all types of complications and issues, and no one's going to pay an exorbitant amount of money for something that's basically getting its ground off. It's barely greenlit.
Yeah.
It's not even a finished
And
product.
that's why Xbox is smart enough to say, this is just a beta for us right now. We're only
Yeah.
going to let a select amount of people come in and try it out. And they're testing the waters, making sure everything's smooth before they do a launch like Stadia. I tried out Project xCloud on my phone. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday. And I hooked it up to one of my Xbox controllers. And I have one of those pop sockets. I just put it like this right here. Got my controller, started playing it just to test it out. I mean, I wouldn't do that at home because I got consoles everywhere. I just figured to test it out, and it was smooth. I tried it with Absolver just because, since it's a fighting game,
Mhm.
give it a chance, and there wasn't a lot of lag or anything like that. So that's great, and then servers weren't having issues, but I still prefer playing on computer or on the consoles. And I can with Xbox. I can't with Stadia.
Yeah.
Like that game I just played, if I was to save my file, all I would have to do is go to my computer and start playing it more without having to stream it.
Yeah.
So they got to realize that they have to give more options.
Oh, we're just finished their tech.
Yeah.
Right. And then as far as I guess PlayStation's trying to go in the route of streaming. They have their remote play system to where you can play their games that you own via the computer and TV now too. They're not really advertising it, but you can do that. They started advertising it after Stadia came out, but it's not set up as well as Xbox's system. So the future of streaming games, I think, has a long ways to go. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But
Just like VR.
Yeah, just like he called, which we can talk about that in the next
segment.
topic. But he calls it AR. He's because it's not like VR and animes. It's not like you're going and
It is.
I
It's
agree.
AR over VR. That's
I
all I
know.
gotta say about it.
Anyways, so Stadia is a huge failure. It'll probably continue to be a huge failure because Google does not understand the video game community. Now we're gonna go to the next topic.